Alright, for point slope form, there are two equations that you really need to know. First is the equation for slope, m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And the second equation is your point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, for a problem like this one where they gave you a point and they gave you the m value, you don't actually need to use this one. They already gave you the m value. So all you need to do is plug in. Hopefully you remember that your points are written as x comma y, so we are going to plug in our y value in for y1, plug in your slope in for the m, and then x minus our x value, which is 9. From there, most of these questions just want you to simplify. When you have a negative times a negative, that becomes a positive. Keep the 4/3 on the outside of the parentheses, and this, since there's only one negative, would just become minus 9. So this one, y plus 1 times 4/3 x minus 9. Just make sure you're paying attention to the positive and negative signs in the answers. Alright, for a problem like this, you need to calculate the difference in all of your steps here. So from 1 to 2, that's a difference of 1. From 2 to 3, a difference of 1. From 3 to 5, a difference of 2. Over here, from 3 to 7, difference of 4. 7 to 11, a difference of 4. And 11 to 18, a difference of 7. And now, if you remember your slope formula, you had the y's on top, the change in y's over the change in x's. Basically what you need to know is to write these fractions as y over x, y over x, y over x. Now, do all of these have the same slope? Is 1/4 the same as 1/4 the same as 2/7? If the answer is a yes, you're going to have to write your equation like we did in the last problem. If your answer is no, they're not all the same, then that problem is not linear. So these three fractions would have to be exactly the same to say these are linear points. Alright, this type of problem is going to take a little bit more work considering we have 2 points. I would label them x1, y1, x2, y2. The first thing you always want to find is your slope, which is going to be the m. So your slope is y2, 4 minus y1, use parentheses when you have a negative, over x2, 8 minus x1 of 2, and then just simplify. 4 minus negative 1 is 5, and then 8 minus 2 is 6. Once you have your slope, your m value, look down at your answers to see which point they chose to plug in. And it looks like they chose this first point here to plug in. So y minus our y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, simplify it down. The two negatives cause that to become positive. And we have our 5/6 and x minus 2. Alright, so far we need a positive 1, a positive 5/6, and a minus 2. So far this is an answer, and that's the only answer. Okay, you would sometimes have to turn this into standard form, and how you would do that is you first need to distribute your fraction here. Y plus 1 equals 5/6x minus 5/6 times negative 2 would be negative 5/3. Now to get rid of fractions, you would have to multiply through, in this case by 6. So you'd multiply each term, the y by 6, the 1 by 6, 5/6 times 6 is 5, and then 5/3 times 6 is 10. And then as you can see from the answer, you subtract the 5x from both sides and move the coefficients to the same side. And you'll get the same answer up here. Alright, it looks like this is the last type of problem that you're going to have here. The first thing you need to do is kind of look at the y value it's telling you to look at. Now, how do we get a positive? we get a positive by two negative numbers. So they're actually looking at a y value of -2 and an x value. Well, let's look, what would my x value be in -2? My x value would be +4. So in the equation, that's going to line up with -4. Okay, because it's always the opposite of the original numbers.
I'm not sure, John.
Now you should notice that this line does have a negative slope, which means that m value should be negative, and that becomes our only option. Let me know if you do have additional questions. This is just like one of the other questions that we saw. Hopefully I've covered all of the types that you have in your quiz, and hopefully you can be more successful on your next attempt. Good luck!